By any measure, a violin is a thing of beauty, an object of extravagant curves and burnished surfaces, fragile and delicate in the hands, yet powerful enough to fill a hall with soaring sound. But not all violins are created equal. And if a violin is one of those rare breed destined to survive world wars, fires, and storms at sea, to be collected by the Medici and tucked under the chins of Paganini and Heifetz, if, that is, it is a violin born to be the best of the best, then it most certainly would have started life 3 centuries ago in a woodcarver's workshop in Cremona, Italy.
I'm definitely a Strad guy.
Much rather than del Gesu.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Strad player. There's no question about that.
When I put my hand on a family, Guarneri, you give me a Strad next to it, the Strad will sound. This, they all have this glow around the sound. So sorry about that. Okay.
When you come right down to it, I guess I'm a Strad guy, but I'll always have del Gesu envy. Always.
It's clear that the relationship between a player and his or her violin is an intensely personal one.
To me, this is not a tool. It never was. In fact, for me, this is a complete extension of my being. In fact, in Hebrew, you know, we have something called the sound post in there. In Hebrew, it's called the soul. The actual word, neshama, it's the soul. This is the soul.
Choosing a violin is, for a player, a little like falling in love.
When I planned the Gesu, I just enjoyed very, very, very much. And then when I put it down, I picked the Strad and I said, oh my God, I cannot believe it.
It's not for me to say that I'm a del Gesu person and not a Stradivari person. I am attached to this particular instrument.
There are days where I don't feel like practicing, a lot of days where I don't feel like practicing, and sometimes all it takes is just to open up my case and see there sitting in front of me this one of the greatest, I really think a Stradivari's violin is one of the greatest achievements that any man has ever made in all of history. So when I see that and I open up the case and this work of art staring at me, I think, okay, maybe I do feel like practicing.
I would say that in very emotional terms, it's a partnership. In very practical means it's a tool. A violin is a tool. I think I know that this has given me a lot of positive inspiration.
A violin, after all, is a very intimate instrument, not held at arm's distance, but closely and passionately embraced. Each instrument demands a different technique to bring out its best sound.
My opinion is that Stradivari needs much more bow floating, where Guarneris enjoy more being a little bit saving your energy, saving the bow.
Quintessential del Gesu is a little boomier. It's got like a little sort of raw, a little rumble, a growl, if you want to call it that. So if you want to have elegant playing and you want to just float the sound, it's a little harder. Because once you start digging in, the violin starts to respond. You know, like when you rev up a good car's engine starts going, rawr, rawr, rawr. You know, has that sort of growly feeling. And a Strad, I think on a Strad, what many players find is that the margin for error, it's like how you can get the best sound, that path where the best sound is produced, is narrower than a Del Gesu. Del Gesu is more forgiving in that if you don't put the bow in the right place, it can still sound good. But the Strad has to be just right.
In some ways, to play Guarneris, I've always felt are more like putting a vocal cord inside you and you speak very directly. Stradivari's, you caress them, you coax them, and they speak themselves. Stradivari is more of a partner, I feel, for a player. A Guarneri becomes part of your own soul.
When you hear sound, you see colors. At least when I hear sound. Strad, I always find kind of like orangey with some brightness, some bright redness. Well, it is on this fiddle, you know. While the Guarneri, maybe I can think of plums.
When a concert artist is playing a Guarneri, many of them are extremely passionate and they're pushing the instrument to the very bottom. Guarneris can probably take more pressure just by the design, the way he's redesigned the instrument a little bit. Put more wood right under where the bow is. By that function, the artists, especially as they develop and they get older, they're able to drive that instrument, push it harder. Stradivari's, there are dark ones, there are bright ones, and that's the same thing with Guarneri's, but it's the response that's different. And there are some that don't fit in this general rule, but Stradivari tells you more how to play the instrument. You have to let the instrument play itself. You can't push it so hard.
It takes months and even years to discover all the tone and color a great instrument has inside.
I always think sort of volume is kind of measured like that, and colors of tone are measured like that. And on some of those great Cremonese instruments, the colors go out for miles. I mean, people play on Strads for 2 years, and still they suddenly find, in the middle of a concert, hello, I didn't know it could do that. There's something there that I didn't know this instrument had.
This is the unexplainable thing. One of the unexplainable things of those great masters is the better the venue, the better the acoustics, the better the hall, the more you discover, the greater the sound gets.
A fine wine ages, but peaks and turns after a time. An exquisite painting from Renaissance Italy is kept in a museum under glass. And yet, every day, these 300-year-old objects of immense value get up and go to work. They are carried through airports, taxied through cities, played and sweated upon night after night. For they are not just works of art, but also working tools. And a violinist is counting on the instrument to make him or her sound better than anyone else.
I get up there and I want to make the best sound because when it sounds good, they feel good. I feel good. Not only that, they'll hire me again.